Hey, the Rad and Norty show is back for another week of hot takes on all things brain, video games, current events, whatever's going on, whatever's interesting to Rad and Norty. We're going to break it down and have a great time chilling, relaxing. So if you're hanging out there in the chat, give us a wave, give us a thumbs up, questions, comments, anything you want to talk about or bring up on the Rad and Norty show this week, go ahead and leave it in the chat and we'll get to it. We'll be right back. And we're live. All right, Norty, my good man. We've been raging pretty hard this week, but catch me up on the current events of life. What's been going on in the last, 76 hours or so with you, my friend? Bishop, welcome to the show. Good to see you. Nice and early. Loyal supporter. Love it. I love nothing like a loyal friend, colleague, and listener out there. Appreciate having you here.
Finished building the PacMan Lego.
Yeah, I saw the picture of that. Crazy complicated. I zoomed in and was scrolling around because it doesn't look that impressive, just from a distance. You're like, oh, it's like a little Pac-Man, but you zoom in, you're like, it's literally made out of Lego blocks. I would lose my patience.
Well, and the craziest part is there's a little crank on the side of it, and if you crank it, the Pac-Man chases it moves around. So it moves around the Pac-Man.
That's cool.
Game environment, if you will. So it's a very, very complex thing. And the back of the cabinet opens up like a normal arcade cabinet would. You can pop the back open, look at the parts. It's a very, very complex Lego set. And
so there's
they're fun.
Arcade parts inside that you had to build out of Legos?
Yep.
That's intense. Can I ask how much this thing cost you?
I think it was like $270.
That's intense, my friend.
Yeah. And it was worth every penny. And it's on display right now, and I do not feel like grabbing it. But
where is it on display?
It's on we have the picture I sent you. It's on a bookshelf thing.
Yeah.
Let me hold on.
How tall is it? What are these rough dimensions?
This tall? I don't know what that translates to. I mean, it's tall.
You sent me the picture. I thought it was 4 feet tall.
I'm gonna slide back here. So, hopefully no one can see me. So this is another Lego set. So I'm gonna give you a peek into how intense these Lego sets are. I don't know what you were saying. I didn't have my headset on if you couldn't see.
Bishop wants you to go get it so the viewers can see. I'm just wait for Norty trip and fall and the whole thing explodes into pieces.
Yeah. So this is can you see this? This is the Dodge Charger from one of the Fast and the Furious movies.
That's pretty cool.
But look at the engine. You see the pistons fire when the wheels move?
Yeah.
So I built that engine, this Lego pieces, but the engine moves when you see the belt spins and
if you put gas in it, will it fire up?
I think so. There's little nitrous oxide carts in it. So these things are intense.
When did your passion for Legos take off? I played with Legos as a kid. Enjoyed them. Yeah. Just another toy. Just another toy. When did Legos become a passion?
Oh, dude, I love it.
Bishop says, is it stronger than family? Nothing stronger than family.
Lose something, bruh. Sorry, that was actually Point Break. I almost had you.
What is that?
You never had me. You never had your car. God, I love the Fast and Furious movies. Greatest movie franchise in history. Fast and Furious. And that's just scientifically proven.
I mean, Mark would probably agree with you. I mean, that's fine. I don't have a desire to disagree with someone.
That's right.
But I mean, if I had to choose to be stranded on a desert island with the Fast and the Furious set series, or I don't know, John Wick, I'd probably pick John Wick.
Fast and the Furious. But
all right.
To answer your original question, my passion with Legos started when I was young. I love Legos. I loved building Lego sets as a kid, and I bought one of these on a whim.
This should be your next Lego set. You can build the tree that Paul Walker hit out of Legos.
I'm about to log off the stream. But anywho, I think it was this one. I bought this one on a whim, and I was like, this thing is crazy intense. I didn't realize, I don't pay attention when I buy things, right? Like, I don't read labels very well. This may surprise a lot of people.
Have trouble seeing?
But I just don't pay attention. And so like I bought this Lego set. I was like, oh, it's a Fast and Furious car. Like that'll be fun to build. Like assuming it's like a normal Lego set, just maybe a little bit more in depth. I didn't realize there's a whole series of Lego sets that are designed for adults. And so these Lego sets say 18 plus on them. They're designed for adults. They're very intricate. And they take a lot of time. So I bought that one on a whim. And I was like, man, this is just as fun as when I was a kid. So I bought that one. I bought a little Fender guitar, which you can see here. It's like a Fender guitar and amp set.
I can't see the Fender. Oh, maybe.
It's small. It's
camera resolution. I think it's not good enough to pick it up very well.
And then I bought like a little Lego like display one. And then I bought the PacMan one. There's an Optimus Prime one with my name on it.
That sounds cool.
So I love Legos, man.
That sounds cool.
Anybody who loves Legos, find an adult Lego set and go get it right now. So much fun. So
other than finishing your PacMan Lego set, any other life events, updates, interesting things going on the last couple days?
It's 4th of July. People are blowing off M80s like crazy over here, driving me nuts. But
yeah, our neighborhood wasn't too bad, but definitely annoying. It's something you
don't
definitely...
listen to him.
What's that?
I said don't listen to him.
I was like, hold on a second. I was like, is this stream about to get crazy?
That's just blatantly not true.
Just blatantly not true? Okay.
Yep.
Well,
I saw you scan the comments. Like, just don't read it. Just don't read it.
You can see exactly where my eyes went. Oh, yeah. 4th of July isn't too bad in our neighborhood, but I feel like you definitely become like acutely aware of it with the dogs because it just bothers them so much.
So listen, I'm all for it. People blow off fireworks, have some fun, but there's somebody in our neighborhood that, I kid you not, was just blowing off M80s for 4.5 hours. Like that's not like, what fun is that? You're just making loud noise, and I don't like you anymore, and like go away.
I remember when we were kids, there was like some random kid in the neighborhood whose dad, his dad had one of those weird tool sheds where like you didn't go in there and he's always coming out of it with something wacky. And one day he comes out with, I don't know, some giant explosive, like definitely not a run-of-the-mill firework. And there was nothing to it. It was just an explosive. Loud bang. That's it. And I just remember he makes all of us kids, I mean, we were probably, I don't know, 12, 13. He makes us all go out to the road so he can blow this thing off in the backyard. And he lights it, goes in the shed, and closes the door. And this is like the loudest thing I've ever heard until I was like 18 years old and heard an actual live grenade explode for the first time. That's a kaboom that you cannot wrap your brain around until you experience it.
Well, I always remember, anytime I think of fireworks, there was, I feel like every school had this, but maybe this just happened in our school. There's this one kid, and it was like in middle school, everybody knows the kid. I'm not gonna like say names on the off chance that this gets around. But
sure,
I remember the kid's name, and he just disappears like after 1 year of middle school, like doesn't come back.
The kid disappeared.
Yeah, and like all of a sudden the rumors start flying about how like he blew his hand off like with a firework explosion. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Blew his hand off with a firework.
Like, whatever. Kids talk, they make stories up. There's no way this kid blew his hand off. Well, he shows back up in high school, blew his hand off.
That was a real story?
It was a real story.
He actually blew his hand off?
Blew his hand off.
No way.
Not full hand, but he no longer had fingers, right? And
Jeez.
I will never forget that. And that's just what happened. I assume
like
Jason Pierre-Paul style.
Yeah, I was like, who's the defensive lineman? Jason Pierre-Paul. I was like, was there ever a video that surfaced of how he did that?
I don't think the video of how he did it but there was like a very graphic video of his hand, like pre-surgery.
Like, what do you even do? Like, I can't even wrap my brain around it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like...
Don't light off fireworks. I don't know.
Maybe I'm just like an explosives safety nut because I've seen what explosives can do to people. Like, I just don't mess around with them, really.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, you don't know, like, what if it's a quick fuse? Then you panic because you didn't plan on where you're going to throw it, right? Or, like, you drop it and you go to pick it up and then, boom, it goes off in your hand. Like, there's so many things that could go wrong. Don't do it. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan.
I've never been a big fan of it. Explosions, fireworks, like I'm good.
Bishop says, "Do I know the kid?" Well, Bishop, do you know a kid that's missing fingers?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably
how many people you know with a missing hand?
So, I would say my only life update is our dog keeps cutting himself.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this before. I don't know if you mentioned it on the stream, but you told me. I remember that.
And we legitimately do not know how or why. But there are these like cuts on his shoulders. They're like clean, like razor sharp cuts.
It sounds like he tried to escape through a fence, right? Like that's what it sounds like.
So 2 weeks ago, he shows up with this cut. We have no idea where it happens. Take him to the vet. The vet's like, we thought like maybe he got into it with an animal or something. The vet's like, no, the wound's like too clean. Like it's probably a fence. That was like, he's like, it's right on it, like his neck. He probably tried to shove his head like through a fence. Got caught on a piece of like metal, which is very doable with our fence. We definitely have like a fence that, yeah, if he was trying to like shove his head under it or something, that could happen. Vet cleans it, staples it. I'm supposed to take the staples out in 2 weeks. That was literally 2 weeks was literally today. Last night at like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, we're in the kitchen and Julia goes, "Is that blood on the doorway?" And like, there's like a doorway as you're like walking in the kitchen. I'm like, look, I'm like, yeah. And I look at the dog and he's got another gaping cut on his shoulder, same side, like literally exact same spot of the one that just healed, just below it.
He's got to be trying to get through something. He has to.
Same angle, same everything. It was like, and it was just, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's literally like 4th of July. Fireworks are about to like start going off. Like, where are we even going to take him, right? And then it's like, well, I'm not going to just like leave it open all night. So I hum and we haw for a little bit. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take care of it myself. I mean, I can do this quick. Like, you know, it's not gonna be the most comfortable thing for him, but he'll be fine. Like, I've got the stuff I need to do it here. I've got instruments. I've got a couple sutures. Honestly, I don't think the vets are really doing like sterile OR techniques for these things anyway. They're just flushing the wounds and stitching them closed. So that's all I flushed it, stitched him up on the back deck. Fireworks are going off in the background. The sun's going down like right at the end. I'm like having trouble seeing, so I had to like bust out a light just to be able to finish. He's wiggling around. I'm trying to move like a beast. It was an operating room straight out of the Revolutionary War. Bombs bursting in red air. Can confirm suture kits are a thing in vets' offices. Yeah. I don't understand the comment, but anyway. The point is, I wasn't taking this guy to a vet's office at 8:30 at night. There was no vet office to take him to. They're all closed. You can take him to like Animurge. They probably like asked me for my left testicle in order to stitch this thing shut. They'd be like, well, if we can neuter you, we'll close the lack on your dog. Like, that's how much money they'd probably ask for. So anyway, we get him all sutured up on the deck last night. He seems fine. And I was like, I'm still going to take him to the vet the next morning anyway. That way he can get like antibiotics or something. And let's see, what's Bishop saying? Rooms aren't sterile for the most part unless they have an actual operating room. Most 24-hour places do. Well, yeah. I mean, I do tons of procedures bedside in the hospital that are not sterile. They're not in operating rooms. But I'm using sterile procedures. I'm prepping everything and,
it's not a sterile room versus sterilizing the wound, right? Like the whole room, like in a big operating room, like you have a sterile room.
Whereas like with a dog, I mean, you like shave their fur and they're moving around. They're dirty animals. I mean, anyway. Point is, I thought everything was fine. I was just going to take him to the vet this morning to like, one, have the wound checked, see if they need it. Because I had a limited supply. I only had like 4.0 nylon sutures, which are not the strongest. In an optimal world, I would use something a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. So I was like, maybe they'll want to like put a couple staples in there or something just to reinforce it. It was one of those like, I don't know. I'll let the vet decide what the best thing is to do. Well, while I'm sitting there with him at the vet, I'm just, scratching his belly and, his legs and everything, trying to keep him calm while we're chilling, waiting on the vet. And I find this big scab on his other shoulder. And I was like, oh gosh, what is this? And so the vet ends up coming in, does his exam, and shaves the fur around the big scab. There's another lac, like 2 centimeters long. Same orientation, just on the other shoulder. So he's literally got like bilateral slashes on his shoulder. I mean, he literally looks like a tribal war veteran or something. Like he was like ceremonially scarred for his like battle conquests,
And that begs the question, what is going on? Have you figured it out yet?
No. Well,
Okay.
So all I have is a hypothesis. I honestly don't know. I think, so here's the thing. It would be really weird if this was from the fence. The fence has been there for years.
So why would he start trying to get under it now?
Exactly.
Right.
The only thing that's changed is I'm remodeling the garage. So I had to like gut everything out of the garage. I had these metal shelving units that were in the garage. I just took them apart and stacked them down in the basement. They have like some sharpish edges to them. Like they're not smooth at all. And I've even like walked past like the stack of them and been like, ooh, I gotta be like careful when I walk past. Like if I catch my leg on the edge of this, it's gonna hurt my shin.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I think of is this dog is so clueless. He literally just like runs into these like stacked up metal shelving units, and like the edge of the metal bars are like catching him in the shoulders and slicing his skin open. So we covered him up. I moved him and covered him up with like a thick blanket. That way, if he did bump into them by accident, he shouldn't get cut from it. But that's a guess. I don't actually know. So now the dog has 3 lacs that have been repaired on his shoulders. It's crazy.
How old's the dog?
He's 3 years old.
Okay, so he still has like puppy tendencies.
Yeah, I mean he's like, and he's like, I mean he's half pit bull, but he looks like a pit. So I'm like, I swear this vet is like gonna think I'm like, taking him to like dog fighting rings or something, He's 65 pounds.
Or, you've got a ghost in the house that's just attacking your dog for some reason.
Just slashing him with a kitchen knife.
Or just like,
probably not.
Could happen.
Anyway, so that's the life event updates on my end. Put a swing set in for the kid. That was a little exhausting. Had to dig out some old crap in the landscape, make a nice little mulch bed to put the swing set in. Pretty exhausted. Shoulders are pretty sore from that. But other than that, I don't think any life updates. So
that reminds me of something that I started watching. As always, I'm always watching documentaries.
Yeah, catch me up on the documentaries. Anything brain related or neuro related, psych related. I don't know. Let's find some ties to the brain world.
We'll start with that one because I did start watching one, and it's called I forget what it's called. It's called like Save Maya or something like that.
Save Maya?
Netflix. That's what it's called. Hold on. Oh, Take Care of Maya. And I didn't finish it, so I don't know what happens. But it brought up an interesting disease that I've watched another documentary on called like Mommy Dearest or something like that. But it's
the disease?
No. It's Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. This one's on Netflix.
Yeah. I love the Scrubs vignette with Munchausen syndrome.
And which one's that in Scrubs?
What's that?
Which one's that one in Scrubs?
I have to remember the exact details, but I think it was like a kid comes in and they're like hurt, and it's like JD doing like a dialogue, and it's like sometimes as doctors we're required to ask parents some very uncomfortable questions. And, he has to say, ask the parents like something about like, do you hurt your kids? Do you smother your kids?
Yeah.
And the parents are like, no, like who would do that? And he like explains Munchausen syndrome to them. And they're like, That's terrible. Someone should do a public service announcement about that. And JD's like, someone should do a public service announcement about that.
Well, one of the craziest documentaries I think I've ever seen is the one about Munchausen by proxy. And I think it's on HBO now. There might have been a couple of them, but it's called Mommy Dearest. And this one mentions it, but it's not specifically about it. It's about just the healthcare system in general. But this Mommy Dearest one, she's pushing all of these doctor's appointments, these surgeries, these crazy symptoms on her daughter until her daughter eventually concocts a plan with her boyfriend to kill her mother.
Whoa!
And she kills her mother. Yep.
Fiction or nonfiction?
No, this is nonfiction. This is real.
Wow.
So this is all real. Like, none of this was made up. It's the craziest thing, and that's the only reason I even remember that disease and what it even is. Because anytime I hear it, I immediately think of that documentary. I'm like, oh, I know what this is, and like it's crazy what she put her daughter through. But then her daughter was essentially a prisoner, being confined to a wheelchair when she could walk perfectly fine this whole time. And then she lashes out and kills her mom with her boyfriend, and I think she's still in prison.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
But she's still in prison?
The daughter, yeah.
I mean, trade one prison for another, I guess.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
What's nuts is I think there was a follow-up interview with her, and she seems happy now.
Happier in prison than
which is wild. Yeah. Like confined to a wheelchair, being put through all these surgeries that she doesn't need, being medicated with stuff she doesn't need. It's a wild thing. But I wanted to get your take on that syndrome. It's just insane.
I have no professional opinion to offer on Munchausen syndrome because
it's essentially
I know nothing about it.
It's a person like pushing like it's almost like they need to be a caregiver, so they need to keep their kids sick.
Yeah, I mean
it's a psychological disease.
Yeah, it's purely psychological. But everything I know about Munchausen syndrome is probably more from Scrubs than my medical education. We don't really learn much about it. Or I mean, I never. Maybe if you were like lucky enough during med school where like you encountered a patient with Munchausen syndrome, like I'm sure you know a ton about it, and it was like that's an experience like I would never forget.
You can't forget. Right?
I
watched a documentary and I can't forget about it.
Patient with Munchausen.
Yeah. Well, so
it's rare. It's not something you're likely to see.
The other thing about the newer doc, the Watch Maya, I already forgot what it's called. Like something Saving
Maya or something like that.
Save Maya.
Saving Private Mayan.
Say Maya.
That's it. Saving Private Mayan.
Private Maya Ryan. But the interesting thing about this one is they brought up so she had some type of, man, I should have written down these details. So she had some type of disease, but they were using ketamine to treat it. And I feel like we talked about ketamine fairly recently. I was like, oh, I know what's going on here.
I was just skimming through some YouTube analytics.
I'm getting ads for ketamine now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Ketamine.
Through our YouTube analytics, and that like one of the shorts from our podcast about ketamine, there's like 15,000 views, which is like way more than any other video we've made.
It's a hot topic right now. We are talking about ketamine currently. Ketamine.
Somebody liked our video that it kept spreading around. So Google's doing their job. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I got one for like it was like ask your doctor about something ketamine. Like it was like safe ketamine or like it was. I was like, okay, this is where. So ketamine really is getting out there, and I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah,
I think I told you like Special K.
I think I deleted the email, but I got some like news article about basically like I don't know, the rise. Let me check my junk mail. Let's see if I can find the title. It caught my eye, but not enough to open it and actually read it.
And it seemed like in this one, and I think this may have been something we talked about. So in the Saving Private Maya documentary, she has some type of disease where like her skin is so sensitive to the touch that it feels like she's in constant pain if she gets any type of touch. And it's something that's prevalent in like 9 to 11-year-olds, people that have it. And they actually put her in a ketamine-induced coma for like 6 days in order to treat her. And she came out of it feeling better, which is crazy. And the only downside of it that she expressed was that she had some like short-term memory loss.
Hmm.
But she's like, it was a positive
Yeah.
experience. She came out of it feeling better. And then what started getting the parents under scrutiny and them being accused of having Munchausen by proxy was the fact that, like, why are you giving a child like 1,000 milligrams of ketamine?
That's crazy.
And like the doctor's like, I prescribed it. Like, that's what helps her pain. Like, what do you mean? They're not, like, she's been diagnosed with this. And then Florida just takes the kid away because apparently in Florida you can do whatever you want, take people's kids. They have like a.
I
like
heard
a
there's
crazy,
something like an absurdly high number of children that go missing in the like North America on like an annual basis, like to the point where like you would never, like you can't even wrap your brain around the number of children that just go missing.
I mean, after this, I was shocked. Like their average, the state of Florida in this specific area was like 7 times higher than anybody else for their DCFS or whatever the organization was called for taking kids away from parents. It's like, are they getting bonuses? Like, do they have a quota? Yeah, Disney's there too.
Yep,
Florida.
I believe it. Disney is part of the great evil conspiracy of the deep state.
Mhm.
That is truth. Bishop and I agree on something. That's for sure.
That's wild stuff.
Yeah, I mean that all these like crazy rare psych diseases.
Those are the ones that are probably fascinating me the
They're
most.
fascinating, but
Yeah.
good luck finding like patients to actually, substantiate these series.
I think that's what makes them so fascinating, right? Is the fact that they don't pop up very often, but when they do, it's like, oh no, there's a name for that. It's like, wait, what? Why is there a name for this? You mean there's more than one?
Not many.
Yeah.
Not many. So, anyway, okay. So we're caught up on some cool documentaries.
Oh, well, I didn't get to the best documentary that I started.
Oh, all right.
And this leads me to, I need to get your take on this one. First of all, have you ever watched?
Munchausen's related. I don't have much of a take.
This one has nothing to do with anything doctor, brain, anything related. American Gladiators.
Okay.
Did you ever watch American Gladiators growing up?
I mean, not a lot, but enough to know exactly what show you're talking about and the gist of it.
Anywho, there's a documentary about it talking about the behind-the-scenes drama that happened with American Gladiators, and it just reminded me of how much I absolutely loved American Gladiators to the point where I would watch it on repeat as a kid, just reruns.
American Gladiators
is the best. So I want to know what your favorite event was.
I don't remember enough of the details. I remember they had the platforms that they would knock each other off of.
The jousting,
with
whatever
the
it's called.
bugle sticks,
Yep.
yeah.
They talk about that.
That's honestly probably the only one I really remember.
So I always like the obstacle courses, but my favorite one was when they launched tennis balls at them, and like the person had to run to different obstacles, but whenever they hit a different obstacle or a different wall that they're hiding behind, there was like a gun to shoot back at the American Gladiator to try and hit a target. They're just launching these big, like lame foam darts at this target, trying to set off a thing of smoke, but the Gladiators rifling tennis balls at them, like and pegging them with tennis balls. It's the best.
Sounds awesome.
They almost, like, the competitors almost never won that event, but it was fun to watch them get beamed.
I think the real question is there anything The Rock isn't trying to bring back?
Listen, if
championing the XFL.
Yep. I think it lost something like $6 million or something like that. Maybe it was $60 million. It lost a lot of money its first year back with The Rock. But they tried to bring back American Gladiators at one point, and I don't know what happened. I don't think it was very good, but I would love to watch American Gladiators come back right now. I'd love to watch old American Gladiators on a streaming service. Don't really care.
Hear me out. What if you and I compete against each other in American Gladiator competition and we'll live stream it?
I'm here for that.
As a fundraiser.
100% do that.
But if I win, you have to proclaim that I am superior at all things arena related.
That's fine.
No matter what the platform is.
That's fine.
You're a professional wood leaguer if you lose to me.
Deal.
All right, it's on. Set it up. Bishop, set the venue. Norty and I are going head-to-head, American Gladiator style. Everything foam and pad. We're just going to beat each other senseless. So hold on. How did this... I'm still confused. Well, maybe I missed it. Sorry, I'm getting some pings on the side that are a little challenging to ignore. Inopportune timing. So what's the gist though of the documentary?
I don't know, everything bad that went on behind the scenes.
Oh, so there
Like,
wasn't like anything
it was
like
just
notable.
apparently it was just a complete shit show that should have never worked, but it did, and it was awesome. That's what I got after the first 2 episodes. And I love American Gladiators, so it's fun like looking at these gladiators that are now like old and still look somewhat the same, and hearing their stories.
Are they like what were they? I mean, they were mostly like bodybuilders, I assume, right?
Bodybuilders with
Amateur
some type of
bodybuilders?
like that. They talk a little bit about that. So they were originally getting bodybuilders, but what they found was even if you are a bodybuilder and have the right physique, you may not have the athletic capabilities that you
That
need
does.
to be a gladiator.
Yeah.
So there's one guy that was like, he had a surfer persona. I think he was on the first half of the first season, and that was before my time. But he got hit and like just hated contacts, like just wasn't working out. Like it's a contact based system, events, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and he just couldn't do it, so he was gone. And they just started finding more and more people. There's like a few ex-football players.
American Gladiator is like the career that my brother needed. My brother should have been an American Gladiator. That would have worked out for him.
What's he do now?
All kinds of things. I mean, he's kind of one of those like, hey, whatever he needs to do to, make ends meet kind of guy. Bartends or, coaches kids sports and all kinds of stuff. I mean, he's going back to school or just finished. No, he hasn't finished his bachelor's degree yet. He's kind of one of those guys like, he's really smart and he's a great student. He just has zero desire to be a student. So he's like trickled his way through college. Like, oh, I'll take a class here, class there. And he's been in his last semester for like 3 years.
Nice.
So I think he's getting close to graduating.
What's he going to get his degree in? I hope he doesn't mind us talking about this.
I have no idea. He's a pretty ambivalent guy about a lot of things, so I don't think so. I think it's like exercise science, kinesiology, something like that. I don't know. Who knows? Nutrition, something sports related.
Okay.
But, that would fit.
Let's get him on the show for a sports talk.
Around
the football season. Just talk sports.
Football season?
We'll break down the football season.
What would if we brought him on a show, what would he talk about? I honestly don't even know.
Let's find out.
He is a boxing mystery sometimes. But I swear he's still one of the smartest people I've ever met. He's just one of those guys that, I mean, he's like got so much intelligence that he just doesn't care to capitalize on, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I consider myself maybe a little bit smarter than the average person. Maybe just call me average. That's fine. My thing is not intellect. It's just hard work. So I just brute forced my way through college. Need good grades? I'll just study 1,000,000 hours and get good grades. My brother's type of person never really needed to study to get good grades. He could study a little bit and be fine. Get great. Like, everything made sense to him. I was the type of person, like, I had to memorize things and, really work hard to get where I did. Not intellect. Anyway, that's neither here or there. What else is going on in the world? I haven't heard anything on Ukraine or Russia recently.
I saw they put something on the Statue of Liberty. It's the last time I heard about that. Like they put the Ukrainian flag. Okay, we support you.
Oh, really? The Ukrainians did that?
I assume it wasn't the Ukrainians. I
guess we'll find out. We're down to another month. So people are saying that Russia is just playing with its food. They're going to crush Ukraine before the end of the summer. Other people are saying the Ukrainian offensive is working. I don't know what the right narrative is. Who knows?
Yeah. What else? Is there any other crazy stories that have caught your eye? I feel like I haven't paid attention.
Not really. I don't know. It's been a quiet week.
I watched a Formula One race for the first time. It was actually very, very entertaining to watch. I tried watching the NASCAR street race that was in Chicago over the weekend.
NASCAR street race? They do those?
It's new because they're trying to compete with Formula One. So I woke up on Saturday. I was like, oh, Formula One's on. I'm going to see what the hype's all about. It was interesting.
NASCAR street race. I gotta see that.
Yeah, it was different. Like it was on Lakeshore Drive.
It was in Chicago.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I got to see how they did this. And it was weird to see like NASCARs flying down a street like I've driven on. It's just
I'm pulling
weird,
up
man.
a video. I want to see.
It wasn't as cool as I thought it was gonna be, but it was weird.
How fast are these cars going?
The Formula One go like 180.
No, not Formula One.
I think NASCAR caps out at 180, but there's no way. Yeah.
I'm more fascinated by the street racing than Formula One. Oh, they have it like all like gated off and everything. This is I envisioned like some like Fast and the Furious.
That's what I was like. How are they going to make it? Because they're calling it a street race.
Yeah,
because it is on the streets of Chicago.
Yeah,
but it's still tracked off.
Track.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, they're not going to hit a bicyclist that isn't using the bike lane. You know. Which I mean, to be fair, I would.
You're just biking your way through Chicago. You just get ripped by a NASCAR.
Hear me out, man. Like that would have been way more entertaining to watch.
Man.
Yeah. That's why they tried to make it more competitive, to where there's more. See how it's like a wider area for them to pass on these straightaways. Like they wanted to make it more competitive, more changing of
Do they have to use blinkers?
Position. I don't think they have blinkers, dude. I think that's just tape.
I mean, it's definitely cool. This is brand new.
They did one. I think they did one in Nashville too. But this was the first time ever they did this. It was interesting.
This has to be a disaster for traffic.
Yeah, no, it was the worst traffic I've ever experienced in my life. Driving back on Saturday, which wasn't even the race day.
And the road's all wet.
Yeah, it rained like crazy here.
I'm so curious how fast these cars
they get up to 180, man. They go fast.
On the street, these things are going 180?
They're not driving with pedestrians.
Well, but still, it's not like a track.
They get flying.
It's not flat.
They still go flying.
I
don't know what the max speed was for this race. Of course they did. The roads are wet, terrible track conditions. It's a brand new track. Of course there's accidents. Fascinating.
Really, this is actually fascinating. I'm ready for to see them race through Manhattan.
Did you grow up? I would pay to watch that.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine the traffic? Could you imagine the traffic in New York City would just be non-existent? I want to see them go through the tunnel.
If they did NASCAR in New York, like a street race in Manhattan, you'd literally have New Yorkers just crossing the street, being like, "Hey, get out of here! I'm crossing the street."
I want to see them go.
NASCAR race going.
I want to see them go through the tunnel, dude. Let's have them race through the tunnel.
Just take off through the tunnel and pop out in New Jersey.
NASCAR.
That would be pretty sick. They got to go down Manhattan, out whatever, like Holland Tunnel, I think, right? Holland Tunnel, come out in Jersey City, if I'm not mistaken. I always mix up all the tunnels. Holland, come out of tunnel, Jersey City. Then you got to go up, I don't know what the Parkway. I don't know if Parkway or 95, whatever.
Hear us out.
I don't know exactly. Then you get off, and then you got to take the George Washington Bridge back over into Manhattan up on the Upper West Side. So you're racing from the Upper West Side to the Lower West Side, then over into New Jersey, and then northbound to New Jersey and back over into Manhattan.
Like NASCAR, we have some ideas. First race is for free.
Would watch that.
I also have a race idea that I just thought of right now, where they're racing up and down the side of a mountain. We're not going to work out the logistics, but I'm full of ideas.
That sounds more of like a Red Bull thing.
Whatever. Whoever wants to sponsor a Red Bull, NASCAR, let's make it happen.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Next week, we have a guest joining the show.
Oh.
Karthik. I'll text him. Dr. Krishnan. I'm going to text him. See if he's still going to join us. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
You just take on NASCAR races.
You want to talk about the smartest person I've ever met. I mean, my brother's a smart guy. The literally most intellectually capable person I've ever met is Karthik. Special K is what I used to call him. We were classmates in med school. I used to call him Special K. brilliant guy. I mean, you want to talk about a quality person? Like, he's a quality person, right? There's no more genuine of a person and friend than this man. So I'm excited. And he also indulges my crazy side, which is one of the reasons why I love him so much. So we're going to have him on the show next week. He's a radiologist. Although he's got a plethora of other medical interests, I'm sure we can talk about. I have absolutely no idea what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk to him ahead of time, see if there's anything he wants to talk about. Otherwise, we're just going to catch up on life, have a good time, talk about maybe some brain imaging stuff. Maybe he can school us up on, sort of some of the latest things he's learning and how we actually look at the brain or the spine, or I don't know. We'll have some fun. We still owe the audience an MK Ultra show.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. 100 subs, we'll get to it. Actually, we get like 400 subs a month, so
we're already there. When is it happening?
We need community true paid subs. Paid subs will make it happen.
It's like 100 degrees in my room right now. So
MK Ultra and some conspiracy theories, or I don't think it's really a conspiracy theory. It's kind of
I'm pretty sure it actually happened.
CIA.
Yeah.
But in general. Yeah. So that stuff's on the radar. It's going to happen. We might take a couple weeks break, I'm thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. We're just sort of shooting on the fly. Maybe after next week's episode, maybe we take a little summer break.
I'm cool with that. Relax, recap.
We'll talk about, hash out some new topics. We've gotten a little lazy towards the warmer months in terms of prepping show topics and really having stuff hashed out. And I hear the audience, people have told me, we liked it better when there was more planned content. All right, reasonable. I get it. Yeah. Fair enough. That being said, what if a dono came in for $100? Would that make it happen? I mean, sure. We'll make an MK Ultra episode happen for $100. I'm a cheap man. What can I say? My price tag.
That's the price tag.
Let's see. So we'll make all that happen. There'll probably be a summer break that comes in at some point. Just give Norty and I a chance to recoup and, have our Wednesday nights free for a couple weeks and do some planning. I think that's the most important thing. We did so much planning. The show started, and then we just got so comfortable that we stopped planning towards the warmer months as things got busier. And the audience, from what I'm hearing, is they liked it back when there was a little more planning and, predictability. So we hear you. We're also working on a slim budget. One of the things we do is, the reason we do this show is to raise money for the nonprofit. Right now, the nonprofit's in a little bit of a financial overhaul. This is just kind of a logistics update for everyone. We're doing fine. It's just we have a couple months before some funding sources renew. And so all that's done is mean we've needed to scale back basically over the summer. June, July, August, we got to kind of just lay low, keep things moving forward, but not anything elaborate. And because of that, I think pretty much all the operations, while they are continuing and we're, serving the community and creating education, doing all of the things that the nonprofit organization does and needs to do, we're just doing them at a slightly slower pace over the summer, which I think is reasonable. We've got a lot of volunteers. They get very burned out by the summer. Let's see. What's Bishop saying? Are you saying my paycheck is going to be on hold as a paid viewer? Paycheck? No. We're going to keep doing the show, although we will take a summer break. We didn't say that. Anyway, should we catch up on some video game news?
Yeah, what's going on?
That's the biggest thing in my life right now. Yeah. Let's just be honest. Let's not beat around the bush. Tell everybody what's going on in the world, Norty.
You tell me what's going on in the world.
I think we alluded to
what's
going on in the world. Bishop says Final Fantasy is solid. I believe it.
So I think we talked about it a little bit last time.
Is Final Fantasy 16 like online MMO style?
No, it's traditional style.
Traditional.
Yeah, I don't think they've
What's
made
their
a Final
online
Fantasy
MMO?
14.
Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, 14 was the MMO, and then I think there was maybe just a straight up Final Fantasy MMORPG.
Interesting.
But I think we talked to the world about the League of Legends arena.
No, it hasn't come up at all. I don't think.
I thought we talked about it last week. Am I just mixing everything?
No, I don't think we've. I don't think we've introduced the world.
Either way, give the people a rundown of your thoughts of the League of Legends arena gameplay.
All right.
For our millions and millions of dedicated listeners, viewers.
Ryan's hot takes on League of Legends arena. Actually, maybe we did because I feel like I did some hot takes last week.
2v2 v2 v2.
Yeah.
There's 4 teams.
Yes.
I held up 8 fingers for everybody. It's 4 teams.
So let's give some updated thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's definitely made me say I'm cutting off my ties with Blizzard.
Oh no.
Because frankly, League of Legends right at the moment offers everything in a PvP world for the low price of $0.
Well, let's talk to the people about your thoughts. For anybody who doesn't know, Ryan was an avid arena player. Who hated everything other than logging on to World of Warcraft and playing arenas, and has been spewing the fact that Blizzard should make a game that is just arena, where you log on and only play arena. He's been telling me this since I've known the man, which at this point is what, like a few years?
Several years, I've been
saying. But since I've known you, which I can't even count.
Exists inside of a game was always a terrible idea to me. They said, let's just take the game that exists inside of a game, take it out of the game, and just play that game as a standalone game.
So essentially, this new League of Legends arena is what you've been asking for. This is the type of game you've been asking for.
I wanted Blizzard to make it because I love Blizzard characters. I've been playing Blizzard games since I was, 8 years old. But they have
all of that build up being said. Now that there's an arena, which is a 2v2 v2 v2 setup, how do you feel about it?
It's not perfect. There's a lot of things I would like to see different, but it's good enough where I'm along for the ride. As long as there is a ride to be had. If they're just like, this is what you get, this is it, I'm going to get a little bored of it after probably, I give it 6 months max.
Well, and that's
if they don't make any changes.
Well, I think it's important to call out here that this is as of right now, is a limited time event. As it stands, it's supposed to run for a month, but is a very fleshed out game mode that is very raw. If it's only going to, but it's a very fleshed out game.
Yeah,
mode.
Way too fleshed out for something that's temporary.
Yeah, most of their game modes, like, and I don't know if you ever played any of their event game modes for League of Legends. Usually they're very gimmicky, they're very cheesy, and like it's one weird thing added on to the existing games. So, like, this is a fully different mode with different mechanics that feels very much like.
What was the story of Teamfight Tactics before they came out with that?
Yep. So Teamfight Tactics was, I don't know if that was a limited event mode, and that's what I want to compare it to, because realistically, this is Teamfight Tactics meets League of Legends. Teamfight Tactics is essentially auto chess. For anybody who isn't familiar with auto chess, you put characters on a board, you put them in the right position, you get power-ups, you build them up, and they fight each other. And it's a great game. No, it's to Bishop's point, it's a great game. It has a rank system. Like, it's still very popular. It's a good game.
Support for it?
Probably. I don't follow it, but there's a ranking system, because I don't want to just put these things on a board and have everything be RNG. So it takes some of those RNG mechanics and level up mechanics to empower, but you're still in control of your character, which is much more of a sport, a competition for me.
Exactly. I think so.
But TFT is very fun. TFT is a very mindlessly fun game where you just level up little heroes, let them fight each other. It's a blast, honestly. I love Teamfight Tactics too. It's just not my thing to grind.
So, I mean, I hope that they double down and they say, like, this isn't just going to be a game mode. This is a game.
Well, you know what I was thinking about, and what's interesting is, so the mechanic of the arena shrinking is very much battle royale vibe to it too.
I mean, it was the only other place I've seen that is, I mean, outside of the battle royale FPS style game, they did that in Battle Right. I mean,
Okay.
have you played Battle Right?
No, I don't even think I've ever watched a
If
gameplay
you
clip of
watch like
Battle Right.
just pull up some clips of Battle Right on YouTube,
Mhm.
I mean, it's the original League of Legends arena. I mean, I'll pull up a clip. Let me see here. Let me find
But that mechanic reminds me very much of battle royales from shooters. So it almost feels like they're taking some of these mechanics of very popular style games, and they're trying to make League of Legends have something fresh, a new game mode.
yeah. I
Get
mean,
some
they
thunderstorms.
clearly, let's see, YouTube. Let's just find some Battle Right.
Well, they clearly hacked our brains because they made it round based, which I was always a big proponent of round based for this type of game. So they clearly hacked our brains using MK Ultra technology
Maybe.
and took all of our good ideas. Now they're going to profit off of it. So Blizzard, not Blizzard, Riot, I would like to be paid for this idea. Thank you in advance for your
That's
cooperation.
true. I would like to be paid for this idea. All right, let's see here. Let's just pull some of this up. This is Battle Right.
Oh yeah, that's League of Legends.
This is not League. This is Battle Right.
No, I get it, but like the little arena thing looks like League of Legends.
Yeah. So basically, there's a thing that's going to spawn in the middle. That's like kind of gives you like a little power up if you auto attack it.
Mhm.
That was straight up ripped out. I mean, League of Legends straight up. See how they just hit that thing? The
Yep.
same thing as the little fruit.
Mhm.
And then what you'll see is over time, the boundary of this arena will start collapsing. This game's been out for years.
Is it still playable?
It's still playable.
I know you said the
people that play it.
you said the mechanic. Yeah, I don't like this whole aiming thing.
So everything is a skill shot, even your auto attacks.
Mhm.
So you have to aim everything, and you don't move the character by right clicking.
It's WASD, right?
They're moving the character WASD, and they're moving purely upright, left, down. There's no like real strafe.
Yeah, that's wonky.
So it's like playing Tetris with your left hand while aiming with your right hand. Like,
Right.
it just never felt good to me personally. I mean, maybe if I played it longer, it would have felt better, but to me, it was like the concept of the game is perfect. The mechanics of the game just feel terrible.
Yeah, I could see now that I've watched it, I see what they were trying to do. I just don't think it translates to this type of camera angle.
Yeah. Whereas, like, I mean, the thing that people liked about it is they're like, it's all skill. You have to hit your skill shots.
Which is cool. That's a good concept.
Like, you can't rely on auto attacks. Basically, there's no really true ADC, right?
Mhm.
Even your ADCs are still technically mages. Because, I mean, that's in reality, when you're talking about the video game world or competitive video game world, that's the difference, right? A mage versus an auto attacker, essentially.
It's different, yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
My point is, it's just a mage ability that is an auto attack. It's a mage ability that uses physical when you're skill shotting everything.
Yeah.
It's not like you click on a target and as long as you're in range, you're gonna fire off auto.
Right. Attack. It's all just abilities. Like even like you said, your auto attack is an ability.
Yes, that's what I mean. So it's literally it's all mage play basically.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, but I think they took all the core concepts of this and they intentionally or unintentionally, this is what Riot ripped off.
Yeah. Interesting.
But very competitive, very fun. These do best of 5, I think.
Okay.
And then you best of 5 wins. It's very simple. You don't have this like round robin style thing.
The round robin thing is very much a team fight tactics mechanic where like your little chessboard of people goes up against another person. It's just a round robin. Last person with health remaining wins.
There is a part of me that likes it. I think I don't know. It's hard to say. I think all the different game modes could be fun, but I want to have other options. That way, when that game mode is not feeling fun, I can play something else. I think there is a part of me that would want to play a traditional 2v2, 3v3, jump in, play the same people, and you
Yeah.
either get stumped by them, stomp them, or have a really competitive game.
Yeah.
I think the thing with round based is
you can get kind of screwed based on how you scale up.
yeah. I mean, the thing is,
It adds a luck factor. It adds a luck factor to it, in my opinion.
it adds a longevity factor to it. Like
That
a
it does.
10 to 12 round lobby lasts 20 to 25 minutes. I mean, that's like playing a full on league game. Right?
It can be.
It can be.
It can be
right?
a very short League of Legends game.
Yeah, exactly. But and it's like it feels really good if you're dumpstering a lobby. Feels great. You're just like game match after match after match. There's no downtime. You're learning your opponents. You're like winning feels great. Losing feels bad. And it's not like, oh, lost a game, queue up for the next one. It's like, oh, I'm just getting stomped round after round after round. Like, get me out of this lobby.
Yeah.
And that part sucks.
I'd agree with that.
So, I don't know. But I don't think that, I mean, what do you do when you queue up just single rounds? Well, you go on a 10-game lose streak and you want to punch your monitor.
Yeah, and especially with the way that the champions rank up using items still, like I don't think single rounds is the way to go. Like,
yeah,
it's just not.
I agree. I do agree with that.
So like that's the challenging part for making something like this. Like you can't just have a drop it in. There has to be some type of power up mechanic with just how
that is actually true.
Because it's not like there's different classes and you can spec them differently. It's like these are different champions. Yeah. They have a baseline and they have to ramp up. So it's in how do you play around that as you ramp up using items.
Part of the thing that sucks though is, I mean, then maybe it's just a balancing issue because it is. It's like it's
a balancing issue right now.
It just ramps up and you're like, it's out of control. I can't even play the game.
Well, because it's all based off of these champions that already exist. They weren't balanced for this game mode. They're figuring that out, I'd assume, and it feels like it's very much in a development state just from the sheer balancing of numbers.
I agree. I mean, I hope that they
some
do
spreadsheet tweaking.
Yeah, I really do hope they balance numbers and really put the effort in.
Because the other thing right now is with how quickly that storm shrinks, like you almost have to have scaling champions, otherwise you're just going to sit in the middle until somebody falls over. Like you almost need that like crazy damage. I'd like to see him slow down the storm and balance the numbers. Like that's
slow down
the storm, so you can actually fight it out, make some trades, like let your cooldowns come back up, like actually have a fight versus being forced into a fight very rapidly. But that's tough to do with. That's tough to do with
perspective.
But that's tough to do when you could potentially maybe it was a quick fight and somebody's now sitting there waiting minutes. Like you're starting to balance all these different things.
Yeah.
Where what I would love to see.
That's an interesting perspective.
I would love to see a best of 5, right? 2v2, 3v3 game mode, best of 5 rounds.
Would be an interesting.
You can have best of 5. You can have best of whatever number you want to make it that feels like a good time span. I'd like to see just a straight up that. I still want the rounds. I want the rounds. Maybe do some type of like change your items based on the scenario type thing. Like almost like, hey, you have a buy menu before the round kicks off. Buy what you need. Go in there and get after it. If it doesn't work, buy other things to optimize your build going into the next round or for a slightly different play style. Like you don't have runes, but you have different play styles and different things you can do with items.
Yeah. Pre-round. No, I do agree. You need to be able to I think 1-for-1 swap items, right? Because right now, if you swap an item, you get, I don't know,
it still has.
You get 75% of the cost recuperated. It's pretty. I think on a 3,000 gold item, you get
1750. I thought you got half.
Maybe.
I could be making that up.
I thought it was 2,000. It could be. I'm not paying that close attention.
Me either.
I think it should just be swap for swap.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. You're picking your items to best optimize your gameplay strategy for that round.
They also need to tell you. They also need to make it very apparent who you're up against for the next round.
Yep.
Because you're kind of guessing based on seeding and rankings what team you're going to get next. You can't. unless I haven't found it in the UI. There's no way to like empirically plan for like your exact next matchup.
I couldn't find anywhere. Just like the few games we played, I couldn't see.
I think that's an important aspect for being truly competitive. Taking out the randomness.
It's anytime there's RNG anywhere, it just feels like luck of the draw, at least a little bit. Even if it's not, it still feels that way. And like
there's
it's
no
like, oh, if I would have
for it.
If I wouldn't have gotten that person that early on, I would have had more life to scale up and hit this. Like I got screwed just based on the sheer luck of the draw, and like that feels bad.
Yeah. I think that you know what would be interesting?
Hit me with it.
If they didn't have, since it's all blind picks for champions, right?
Mm-hmm.
This would be an interesting factor to get rid of the randomness of what are those little cards that you pick? The
like the power-ups?
Or power-ups.
Yeah.
So what they should do is they should since you can have mirror matches and you can have, it's blind picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the value of bans, assuming the game is balanced, the value of bans, like champion bans, is pretty low.
Yeah.
So I think they should get rid of bans, blind pick, and then there should be a universal set of power-ups, and you draft power-ups.
Ooh, that could be fun. I was almost thinking of you get gold.
You could ban some power-ups, and teams, you draft a set of power-ups essentially.
Well, and I was almost thinking along the lines of you earn gold for winning, losing a round. You earn gold. You can use that to purchase power-ups instead of items. Purchase specific power-ups. The same set that everybody has access to.
Yeah, I guess if everybody, but at that point, they're just items.
You're just
but if you items to the shop,
it incentivizes you to win rounds.
I don't know if I don't think you should gain an advantage in the next round for winning the previous round.
Okay.
Because that just allows you, just increases your ability to snowball.
Exactly, but it incentivizes you to win rounds instead of just throwing rounds the way to get to a power spike. You have to find a way to incentivize people to win individual rounds, and that's where
I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that method, though. I agree with that outcome. I don't know if I agree with that method.
Right, and that's fair.
I think you just need to make earlier rounds.
Maybe some type of in-game item that provides a slight benefit, nothing game-breaking.
I don't know. I mean, it's all essentially balancing, but I like the idea of not drafting or banning champions and drafting or banning power-ups. And the set of power-ups that everyone has before the round robin starts. Even if it doesn't come online until, everyone drafts around, I think it's a 3, whatever, like a 3, a 7, and a 10. And you can see everyone's selected power-up, so round 3 this comes online for everyone,
right,
but you have all that information ahead of time.
Well, I definitely agree with the fact that it should be more transparent. Like, it should definitely be more transparent. Like, that much I completely agree with.
I mean, at the end of the day, they have to want it. If they don't, we're not going to get any of this stuff. If they want it, I believe Riot will do it right?
I agree with that. That much.
But if they don't want it, there's no amount of us crying about it that's going to get us anything. Anyway, on that note, I think it's a good time to wind down our video game discussion. I like talking about video games. It's fun. It's not
always do.
But to anyone else, hopefully the audience catches on. We need to start streaming some video games. Norty needs to work less hours or something. I don't know. Or maybe go to bed later. That would be an option. You can go to bed after my children. On that note, any closing thoughts, Norty?
American Gladiators.
American Gladiators.
One of the greatest shows ever created. Needs to make a comeback. Everybody should watch the documentary and documentary series.
I think everyone should go download League PvE. Check out. Actually, don't.
I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, wait till it comes out.
Wait till it comes out live because I'm going to get a head start on everyone.
And it's very annoying to sign up for their PvE. Like, it was very annoying.
I didn't think it was that annoying. I think their PvE client is buggy.
That's a part of the annoyance.
Everything
about it has not been what I would want it to be.
No,
outside of getting to
absolutely
play
not.
the
I'm
mode.
just committed to it because I want to be like big brained, ready to roll. Like I want to blast off into like Silver League at least when the game launches. I do not want to be in like the Wood League, like figuring things out.
Yep.
I want to get my 1 month head start on everyone. That's what I want.
Fair enough.
Anyway, on that note, we'll see everybody next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, with Karthik, Dr. Karthik, the radiologist. We're going to have a fun time. Don't miss it. Tell your friends, tell your family. Check out League. Check out the documentary. As always, Rad and Norty, having a great time. Thanks for coming along for the ride this week. We'll see you next week.